Okay, so I'm going to be showing you Stars of Akarios, the PvP mode, which I've kind of made a rule set for. So this works using the 1 to 8 player PvP mode that has been very kindly put onto Tabletopia by Games, and I'm going to show you the setup and how I feel a drafting mechanic works in terms of trying to get that to work, as it were. Okay. Now, with this particular one, I'm just getting a D6 out. With this particular one, it can play. It can play anywhere from 2 to 4 players, effectively. Sorry, 2 to 8 players, effectively. Where you can have 2 groups of 4. You could have players taking on multiple ships. It really kind of it works best if you've got, I would say, at least 4 ships playing. Ideally, you want 6 to 8 ships rolling at a time for it to work really, really well. Now, obviously, for all intents and purposes of deployment, ignore these first 4 deployment zones here on the board. We're going to be looking at this corner and this corner in terms of deployment. So I'm just going to take out several of these cubes, and just to show you the kind of boundaries. So we're really looking at from that side, this corner down to this corner. Oh, excuse me. And then 7 squares, basically, 7 hexes, and then going across to here, and then having these. Oops. Just bear with me a second. So having these 6 places here. So those 2 rows of 6. So that's the deployment area. Let's zoom into that so you can see what I'm looking at. So this is the deployment area for the black side. Now, for Team 1. Now the point being here that when you die in my version of the PvP, you respawn at the start of your next turn. So this is where you'll respawn to. Okay. Then we do the same for the red team. 6 available hexes to spawn in. For this one, we literally place them in a row. Oops, that's not this one. Okay, so that's the deployment zones. Then there's a priority roll. So what would happen? Let's say we had the black team going as this one and the red team going as this one. You'd roll your dice, like so, and you look for attack symbols. So this was 3 attack symbols against 2 attack symbols. So the red team would go first. Okay. So they have won what we call priority, and that will matter for several different things. So the first thing that'll matter for is rolling for the objective. So we're really lucky to have a little playthrough of the PvP, just real base PvP play, ship on ship action, team on team action, and I think it really does need a focus, an objective. So I'm going to roll my dice, and that will determine which objective we're going to do. I get a 4. Okay, so we are not doing objective control. We're not doing secret messenger. We're not doing capture the flag. We're doing something called protect the cargo. So this actually uses a different kind of deployment. So you're going to have a ship now. Unfortunately, I haven't got a sparrow in this particular version. So I'm just going to use a ship. Let's say we're playing 3v3 in this particular one. I'm just going to use a dice to represent the sparrow. Okay, so right slap bang in the middle of the board goes the sparrow. Okay, effectively for this one, the person who won priority decides if they want to be the attacker or the defender. Ideally, what you want to do on this is play this twice through. one player play with priority decides if they want to be the attacker or the defender, and then once that game's finished, you switch over teams, and then the one with the most points after playing both sides would be the winner, just to make it a little bit fairer. Or you could just play it once. So your deployment area for the defenders will be the hexes adjacent to the sparrow in the center. Okay. You, as an attacker, you can place on any outer hex on the board. Okay, any outer hex on the board. Okay, so not the deployment zone which I've shown here. If the attackers destroy the sparrow, which is this ship here, think of it as a crippled sparrow. If they destroy that sparrow, they win the game. Otherwise, the defender wins. You have, now I've put down here 10 rounds. I think that might be a bit excessive. I would say you have 6 rounds. Yeah, I'll have to think about this. Let's say 8 rounds to achieve that. The Sparrow has 10 hull and 8 shields, so it needs to be pretty tanky for players to really think about what are they going to focus on. Because remember, you also have VPs for destroying ships. So if you destroy a ship, you get 1 VP. That team gets 1 VP. If you destroy the Sparrow in this particular scenario, you get 3 VPs. Okay, 3 VPs for destroying the Sparrow. So you don't necessarily, I mean, it is a good way of getting 3 VPs, but, you know, 8 shields, 10 hull is a fair amount. I might change that. I haven't play tested these scenarios, to be honest. This is the first time I've rolled this one. It may be that you need either more rounds or less hull and less shields. Maybe something like, actually, something like 6 and 6. 6 hull, 6 shields. Therefore, potentially, from the loadout, so for example, long shot can go through the shields and really pound that hull. But they're using up all that ability. So I think, you know, you might have different priority targets in this game. So that would be the idea. So we would have to set up around that. So we're playing 3v3. The red team I'll have over here. So let's zoom on to these 3 boards here with Shift 1. We'll go over to here and oops, if I can, and go here for the other team. Okay. So we'll do this as the defending team. By the way, the person who rolled priority was the red team. Let's just say they say, you know what, we're going to attack first. So the reds are going to attack, and then the blacks are going. The black team are going to defend. So first of all, we do the drafting system. So just be aware with this mod, all the ship stuff is underneath in terms of tokens and stuff like that. And for all intents and purposes, I'm going to flip them over so you can see the stats of each of the ship. As you start to get a bit more familiar with the game, it'll make sense. Now, in this PvP, we're going to be using pilot ability, ship ability, weapon, maneuver, and 1 tech. So a fair amount to think about. But the idea of the drafting system is that you're going to have time and you're going to be seeing how it's going to adapt. So, with the red team going first, which actually is on the other side, wasn't it? On the red team going first, excuse me, you choose your ship first. Ship always first, okay? So, just going to sort this out. Okay, so first player. How it's going to work? This will be first player for the red team. This will be second player, and this will be third player. And I'll mirror it on the other side as well for the black team. So what we're going to think about here is which ship to go for first. And you really want to be thinking about what kind of character do you want to play in the team? So let's say we want the tank first. Now, this makes a massive difference because we're playing 3 against 3, the ship that we choose right now, you'll see how it affects it, because it actually stops the other team from selecting that ship straight away. They will have a chance to select another ship in a bit, but not straight away. So I think they're going to go for the tank, the Argonaut. So what you do is, whoops, wow, that was zoomed in a lot, is you get your little ship up there, we get the Argonaut, and we get its ship ability. With this game, I use the black cubes effectively most of the time to track your kind of ammo, your supply, whatever it might be for whatever you're doing, and then red cubes for the status effects that you might have. So I'm just going to chuck a couple there. Whoops. And then we're going to go to here. Make sure we put the 8 hull, no shields on this particular Argonaut ship. Okay. And remember, these are attacking, so they're going to be somewhere around the outside. I'll decide on that in a bit. So, with the first ship chosen, we go back, we go over to the other team, and we have to flip the Argonaut. That's no longer available for this pick. So the first player will... Now, the important thing to note is because we're playing 3 players, we're going to be choosing one ship, stop the other team from doing it. The other team will choose another ship, stop us from doing that one, which will leave us with one ship, effectively, to get for our second player. And then we restart, so they can start, as long as they haven't obviously chosen that one. So what I'm trying to say is this black team will be able to get the tank. As well, the third player in this team will be able to get the tank. I think we're going to go for the Macarva. So you would choose the Macarva. Take Heart's really nice as a ship ability. Okay, so you would do this. You would get the cubes again. Make sure we got enough. Maybe, if it lets me. And usually the other one, the pilot ability and stuff, also happen. Okay, so that's 6 hull and 2 shield. This is the stress track, which you will not change for the start of the game. Now this one will be deploying somewhere near the center, so I'm just going to place it there. We haven't done deployment yet. Now we go back over to the red team, and now it's player 2's go. So player 2, we've just chosen the Macarva, the other team just chose the Macarva, so it's either the Gnosis or the Invictus. So I think we'll choose a complete support next. So this player's going to choose the Gnosis. And what's really nice is they can support really good support vehicle ship, that one. Now obviously it depends on what you combo it with. I so much prefer Tabletop Simulator, I've got to be honest, compared to Tabletopia. But, you know, the good news is this is free. So yeah, guys, if you do want to try this out, I'll put a link in the description, and then you can just give it a go. It's completely free, just got to make a Tabletopia account. Okay, that's 4 and 4, so a lot of shields on this one. Oops. Okay, sweet. So we go back over. Now, because the Gnosis has been taken, that's a really good move, because as a defender, the Gnosis is quite good, because what you want is to try and bait the other team to use their long shot on you rather than the Sparrow. With the Gnosis, literally could be killed off with one shot. But, you know, the Invictus is the only one left, so that's the one that is chosen. Again, that's going to go towards the centre. I do like the Invictus, it's a good one. It does have stealth. That might be better for the other team. So again, they'll have to make a decision in a second which other ship to take. Obviously, if you're playing 4v4, you're going to be playing with all of these starter ships, each team. So it's worth using a cube to denote which colour team that ship is on. And that is a 5-3. So 5-3. Okay, right, nearly there. So we've got one more choice. So now we flick over to back to these guys for their last choice. So that would have been chosen as soon as all the other ships have been flipped. You flip them back, and you've got free choice again. So I think the Macabre will be the last ship for this team. We're attacking, so we could do with something that stops us from not attacking, which is what Take Heart can do. And again, we can place all of our ships on different sides of the board. In terms of deployment, it just has to be an outer hex, so they can be together, like wingmen, or they could be a little bit of a insurgent, as it were. Okay, so now that's taken, we go back to the other group for the last choice, and again, because both of them are flipped, we flip them back over, and we are going to definitely get some kind of tank to help defend our base, or our capital ship, I suppose you could say. And that's what the Argonaut is for. Okay, so that was drafting the ship. Next comes the pilot. Now the way this works is like a serpentine draft, I think it's called, where the last person to choose the ship is the first person to choose the pilot. So it's going to go from this player here on the black team to the last player to choose on the red, going all the way back until we get to the first person who chose the ship on the red. So here are the pilots, and the pilot abilities are down here. So we want to try and combo as best we can, and again we do exactly the same thing. Once you've chosen a pilot, you block that out for the next person. So this is where tactics come into play, because what you can say is, right, the Macarthur's choosing next. Macarthur and Gnosis, those are the two which are going to be choosing, which I can stop one of the pilots, them choosing one of those pilots. Now, Sacrifice is really, really strong for a tank character like him, which is true. But I think, yeah, I think with this into the breach, it's just so powerful. Whoops. So if I bring up the rule book, I'll put the links for rule book, scenario book, and this PvP rule link as well. So this is taunt. This was taunt. So into the breach is taunt, which means enemies will have to attack you. That could be really useful. I definitely someone needs to be Violet Ray with Into the Breach, and it would make sense to be our strongest ship. So I'm going to take Into the Breach, and the reason why is because we're defending the ship, and we want people to have to. This is Violet Ray, by the way. Obviously, in the full game, they'll say which person's which. Okay, cool. Next, move over, and we have now locked out Violet Ray. So I'll just flip her card over, and our first person is the Macabre, which is all about getting rid of status effects from people. It's got a fair amount of hull as well, so I probably See, now the decision comes. I think we'll go for self-sacrifice. Although, saying that, I've got the Argonaut coming up next. Now, I'm going to hold out for self-sacrifice for the Argonaut. So I'm going to grab the focus, I believe. Yeah, I mean, this for an attack, you get to draw 3 modifier cards and choose the best one. This one just adds +1 damage. I'm just going to add the +1 damage because it's so easy to be able to do. So that's going on there, and if we have a little look, that's Dusty's. Oh, my favourite. So Dusty is now gone from the other group. Okay, so now we move on to this one, the Invictus. Dusty would have been useful in that one, but never mind. So we're going to take the Hunter ability, which is Enders. Now, obviously, I'm controlling all of this, so hopefully it'll be a bit quicker when you're playing with multiple people. Right, last one. Oh no, it's not. Sorry, the second one. So we're just taking the Hunter. So we have to take self-sacrifice. So this is where I didn't really think about it. I don't want to be losing hull on my thingy. It might be because I wasn't, where's Starla? I wasn't paying attention. So that is a bit of a bad combination with the Gnosis, because obviously taking a hull point, it's not good when you've only got 4. But we'll see what else turns up. And then the last one, because we've now chosen everyone, because self-sacrifice is just chosen, so that'll be flipped. Because they're both flipped, we now flip them back up. Now, obviously, in the full game when we get it next year, we'll have more than the core 4 characters. So, in terms of the PvP, what I foresee is that you won't have this issue. You won't actually be able to have the same ship, the same pilot on both sides, which really does help. So you don't have that replication. So focus or sacrifice, and we're talking about the Macabre. Oof, I'm going to go for focus with Dusty. Okay. Right. So that's the black team all sorted. So we just got the final one we should have on the red team. And again, you've got free choice between, which I didn't think through, Hunter into the Breach. It makes sense to get into the Breach for the Argonaut for the same reason that the other Argonaut did the same. Sweet. Excellent. So that is now pilots. So ships and pilot are both drafted. So now we move, again, back Serpentine. So starting with the red player's first player, we're going to now choose weapon. So weapon comes after that. Then we do engine. And then finally we do one piece of tech. So in terms of weapons, this is something that's going to be targeted a lot. It's probably going to be right into the fray. So it kind of makes sense, and you'll notice if you've played the tabletop version before, there's some new weapons and some new moves as well. So we're definitely going to be using some of those. Burst fire is quite nice in the sense that it's close combat. Side cannon I just love because it's not only is it I want to be choosing weapons that have got pierce, 100%, because we're trying to we're the attacker this particular round. Now, what's really, really important is you've got to plan ahead for attacking and defending. So what I foresee with this particular objective is you will do the attack, be the attacker, let's say, you play that round through, that game through, and then you don't change your pilots, your ships, and all your abilities, you just flip sides. So even though like long shot could be really, really useful in this particular one, I believe the other team did not choose the Gnosis. So what that means... No, they didn't. What that means is they haven't got anything with a lot of shields. And low hull. So actually Pierce may not be the best for me, but I don't want them to have it either because of my Gnosis. So it's tough. It's tough. There's some really nice cards around. This one in particular is very nice. For defensive, but I think it's got to be one of these two. And to be honest, I'm going to take the side cannon. And the reason why is because I feel that your basic attack attacks a front arc. This just makes it so you can attack the side arc as well. So that one's gone. So what we do is go back over here. We're talking about Dusty's ship here, player 1 on the black side. So again, we've got to get rid of, we've got to flip this. And as you'll notice, we have 9 weapons, so we will not be having the same weapon. Whatever we choose will be eliminated for the other team. Now, this is the Macabre. We've got a bit of a support system going on at the moment, but the focus is the important one. We can stop. We can take off status effects from our allies or myself, but I can put an extra damage on. So I want something that's going to attack multiple ships. So I'm looking at roof turret. We got a distance of 2, but remember we're defending. We're defending that sparrow. So what's really important is that we stay towards the centre, probably. Especially, yeah, with Endor. So roof turret kind of makes sense because we're hopefully going to be clumped together and we can take this. But only being 2, that's my only issue. So actually, with that in mind, it's hard, it's tough, it's tough. Maybe EMP Blast. And the reason why I say that is because this turns this to 2 damage on infinite number of targets up to 2 away, potentially. And it also stuns them. It's a really, really strong ability. I do like the idea of guided missiles as well. That can be really, really strong, depending on. But I'm going to take EMP Blast because I just don't want them to have it. I think it's quite important. Just remembering that fact that whatever I choose, they will not be able to choose, and I think that's really, really important. Okay. So we're now moving on to the Gnosis is next. So it buffs up players. It's self-sacrifice, complete support vehicle. So the EMP Blast, which is a really good support ability, is gone. So I would say we want long range. Being our most. Now scope's pretty cool. It target locks what it hits. It can hit for quite a lot of damage, which I quite like the idea of. However, it's quite hard to get them into that particular one, whereas this is literally just a range of up to 4. I can take guided missiles, and we'll give that a go. I think that's a really nice support weapon. So guided missiles on Starler. Cool. Going back over, we've now got Endor, who's got the Invictus, bit of stealth, and a massive advantage in attacks as well. So with that in mind, we've lost the guided missiles. So we want Search and Destroy. Search and Destroy. Long shot sounds pretty good, I gotta be honest. What team am I on here? I'm on the black team, which is defending. So I don't think long shot's going to be as useful while in defence. Now Afterburn, it does sound pretty cool. I think this is the time for roof turret. I think with the advantage on all of those attacks, will be crazy. So yeah, we're going to take roof turret. I think it's a good defensive card as well. Okay, so last one is going to be the Macabre with Take Heart, remember taking off things, and Focus. Very similar. So we want an attack that can actually do some damage. We are the attackers, I think, this one. Let me just check. Yep, the red team is the attacker. So, but defending next turn. So I think with that in mind, I'm tempted by long shot, but I'm going to take Proton Blast, and I think it's just such a big kind of area of attack, targeting areas. That's why I really like it. Okay, so my final one is the Argonaut, my tank, into the breach, which means that they're going to attack me. So with that in mind, we've lost Proton Blast. Now long shot's still there. I think I have to go for long shot. Well, defending. They've chosen all of theirs, so it's basically whatever one you want from this. I might go for Afterburn. Because if they got to attack me, I mean, it's very situational, admittedly. But I've not used it before, and it just sounds pretty cool. And with this is really powerful. With the 3 rotation, if I use it, a stress dice with this, and it's an attack that I don't have to use attack dice on. I can actually use one attack, one move. So really strong. I haven't put the 8 shields onto this one. Okay, so we're getting there. I can actually take these off and use them. So this one's got... I'm going to say 3 uses. It doesn't actually have it marked on. This has got 4 uses, which is basically just negating 1 damage. Into the Breach has 2 uses. So that person's all ready. But being the last player to choose, I believe, this the defenders, the black team's Argonaut is going to choose the engine first. So now we go over to the engines. Exactly same thing, except for now we've got 6. We've only got 6 engines instead of 8. So we will have a refresh for our final player. Or will we? I don't know. No, we won't, because there's 6 of us. So this will all be unique as well. So this is the Argonaut with that backwards. So what I think flank might be. I want one that flips me round. So it's out of those 2, and I like the fact that this is a little bit more maneuverability. So I'm going to go over there with that. Okay. Right, so we are now going over to the Macabre over here with Proton Blast, Focus. So Barrel Roll, it I think makes a lot of sense for that one. So they're going to take Barrel Roll. Going back over, we've now got our Invictus, Stealth, Roof Turret. Okay, so that could be... I think something fast is important. So Barrel Roll is going. I'm going to take Bank and Jet. I think that's quite important for that one. It's like a hunter type. It feels like a hunter type ability. Then we've got the guided missiles. Okay, with a lot of booning other players. So I think we're going to do the bank, just because it's got you can do it twice, and I think it's got a really nice, and it keeps you backwards. Okay, keeps you at a distance, which I think is important for that Gnosis. So Barrel Roll has and so is Bank. So leaves the Macabre, take Heart, Focus, EMP Blast. Again, we want to get up in the fray. Out of those 2, you have to use a Stress Life dice for Overload even. I'm going to take Burn and Flip, just to force the other team. The reason why is because I'm defending, so I don't really want to be flying off. Admittedly, that might be useful for them. That might be quite good, because this is their Argonaut, their tank, and it could potentially get them straight up there. So Burn and Flip's gone, which means Overload is the final one. Okay, so now we've got our weapons and everything else. All that's left now is the one piece of tech, starting with the red team's Argonaut and Violet Ray. And to be honest, we got into the breach, so we're the target. We are the target. We have no shields, and we are the target. So we've got to think about some sort of tech that helps with that. Now, there's a few things which are slightly going to be nerfed in this particular part. No, it's not. I'm just going to say... The reason why is because target lock is... It just lasts forever. It doesn't go off until you die. Now, that's fine for ships. It's just for the Sparrow, I think, in this particular objective. Perhaps I just say you can't put any statuses on the Sparrow. That makes sense. So I'm happy to just carry on. So this makes sense. This is quite a good one. I do like that one. Although slow is so good, it means they can't move. So if you're... this is hard. We are the attacking team first as well. I'm going to go target lock in this particular situation. That gives the advantage to that player. So tech goes into the tech. Target lock. Cool. Target lock's out. We're looking at this one here. EMP, focus, getting in there. Only 2 shields, so probably not. So target lock has gone. Getting in there. getting in there. I think cloak. Oh, you know what? I completely forgot to look at their this has got to be a C or an A. A C or an A. Don't know what hack is. C or an A. Radar jam's pretty good. I think we're going to take targeted ion. I'm just going to check I chose a legal tech last time. So that's targeted ion gone. Let's just have a little look. C and H, yeah, that's fine. It's fine for the heavy. So that's, what did I just call it? That was this one. Right. So now we move over to Starler, C and R. So what I'm looking at is the little the letters. So C and R can be any of these three. Oh, hang on. What kind of character is this one? Oops. Was this my complete support? Yes. So it makes sense for me to do a more supporting. In fact, I'm going to do shield charge because it's infinite. It doesn't have a supply. It's a definite for the Gnosis, really, if it was available, which is ideal. We move on now to Ender with the Invictus. Let's see, shield charge would have been quite useful for that one. He's Hunter, he's Stealth. Hunter and Stealth. We've lost shield charge. Sorry, I forgot to look to see what H or A. Hack is not heavy or an assault. Right, so if we get a situation like this where you've got H and A, there isn't a H and A available, you can choose a H or an A that has already been flipped. So shield charge or target lock. Oh, I'm going to take target lock. It has to be legal. It has to be a legal piece of tech. You can't put an illegal piece of tech in. So that's the only time it flips, okay? And then obviously, whoops, which I did do, you flip over the one that was already flipped. And then last one for the red team is the Macarva, which has got focus, it's got big range, you know, a status effect. Oh, and I keep forgetting to look at what C and an A. Sorry, apologies. Actually, you can actually move around a bit quicker doing this. C and an A. So here, one of these two. I think it's, as I said, it's going to be something that's a bit more put status effect. So let's use this. Okie dokie. So where's the bag? There it is. So I'm just going to take some more cubes and put them over here. In fact, it's easier just. So I just need some more for tracking supply and ammo. We are obviously in the real game. You'll hopefully have enough cubes to be able to do everything. So that needs to go on a 2. Let's go on a 3. You can always use the red cubes if you run out. Let's go on a 2. And that needs to go on a 2. And then let's grab those. Okay, so that is the draft complete. So it does take a little while, but I think it's the fairest way, and it also puts a bit of tactics on choosing those things as well. Because if you think about it, it's harder on this because you're trying to look at everyone's, but if you've got the board in front of you, it'll be so much easier. Right, that's everyone sorted on that side. Oh, whoa, I forgot one tech. So, black team, the defenders need to choose their last bit of tech. So, that's gone. So we've got cloak, beam repair, or hack. Cloak, beam repair, or hack. Was this the Argonaut? It was, wasn't it? don't really want to do beam repair. Although you can heal yourself. It's not the worst one, beam repair. This causes stress on the opponent, which is quite fun. Yeah, actually that's quite fun. Although, see, this is what is trouble, because I'm a S or H. S or H. S or H. So that might, in fact, that does give me only one option, which is to cloak. Which is fine. Although I feel like I've got... Yeah, I've got into the breach and cloak, so that'll be interesting. I don't even know how that's going to work, but you know. Okay, so now we put 2 on that. 2 on that. 2 on that. 3 on that. That doesn't have supply. It should do. That should have 2. 3. So, you know, certainly when I'm trying to play all characters and set up every character, it's going to take a bit longer than what should be. Right, okay, so that's that done. You will actually take these away, but you need to put in on which ones are which. So you would set up just like the normal game. So the ones with priority, which is the red team, would set their 3 ships up first. So, you know, that would probably go front and center. The Gnosis wants to support, so I'll probably put it there, and then we want a bit of a difference, so not a whole difference, but something a bit like that. So that would be how I'd set those up. I would then place, in this case, just to show which ones are which, this is the red team. Place a red cube on each one. Obviously they're going to be ships in the real game, so that'll have to be done slightly different. Then the defending black team will decide on what they want to do. So Argonaut up front and center, Invictus, and the MacArthur. So it'd be a bit like that, and then you would, I mean, obviously, if we had enough black cubes, I think I had some others somewhere else, but I don't know where I put them. But again, you can just use the red cubes, not. Okay, so that's effectively the game set up. So now we would start with the player with priority, which is the red team, which is attacking. They would roll all of their dice, like so, blah, 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 and these would roll. Follows exactly the same rules as the normal game. I took one of their dice, never mind. So you just... if you get 3 stresses, you get a free reroll. That still applies. You can spend 1 stress to reroll your dice. This is pretty bad, but it is the Gnosis, so it's not a huge problem. You may not be using Guided Missile Strike yet. So you play the game as normal. You can target anyone you want. You can intermingle your actions as per the normal game. And then, effectively, by the time you take out a ship, it's destroyed. When it respawns at the start of the next turn, it respawns in the location in the starting deployment area. So if it was one of the defender's ships, it actually deploys around the Sparrow. Obviously, thematically, it was inside the Sparrow, and then it's launched again. If you're the attacker, you do have to spawn on an outer edge. So that really just should balance this mode, certainly. Once they're destroyed, the other team gets 1 VP. Towards their score. And remember, we're talking about 6 rounds. 6 rounds. So if, well, I say 6. It could be 8. I don't really know. I haven't play tested to balance it. Let's say it's 6 rounds. And then at the end of the 6th round, if the Sparrow has been destroyed, it's 3 VP to the attacker. If it has not been destroyed, it's 3 VP to the defender. And then you just total up your score for that particular game, then you switch sides, do it again, and then the winner is the one with the overall most points. So it's a bit of a longer objective one, perhaps. I don't know if it would be. But once a ship is destroyed, you refill ammo, supply, shields, and hull. You keep your stress level as it is, and it follows the same idea as the normal game. So 1 stress card, 2 stress cards, 3 stress cards, trauma. So it does follow exactly the same idea, except in this PvP mode, you cannot sacrifice your upgrades to stop hull damage. So that is not available. You cannot do that. Because I wanted it to be able to, ships to be destroyed, not easily, but you could effectively, as a tactic, gang up on a ship to destroy it. Now, that's the beauty of this particular part of the game, is that if you're doing that as the attacker and you're destroying ships, sure, you're getting VPs, but you're not hitting your objective, which will actually probably lose you the scenario. And I think that's why it's really important to have these different scenarios. It gives you a focus in the game. Okay, so that was just one setup. As I say, it took a bit longer than normal. A couple of reasons for that. Number one, we're using a virtual tabletop simulator. And the other reason is because I'm just doing everything. But that's effectively what you would do to set up the game. Obviously, there's team talk. You can talk about your actions. You can intermingle them. You're going to do the red team. The attackers would do all of their actions first, and then it would move over to the defenders team, and then they would do all their actions. And it would go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, until you get to the end of round 6. So you would track it in 6. Now, there is if you go to, I think, scenario 1 on this, at the moment, you've actually got the Sparrow as a card, and it says it's got rounds or turns, and then it's got the health. So it would follow that exact thing. So that's my setup rules and how setup works for Stars of Akarios PvP version of my rules. So I'm just going to quickly, hopefully, yeah, we're just going to, I'm going to pause it for a second. Okay, so this is the Google Docs. I've done the PvP rules on that. So I've said deployment areas, as I said it before. I've actually put 7 in there. So you could do it 7 or 6. But it does depend on the scenario you're doing. Priority role, as I mentioned before. Ship and upgrade drafting, what we've just done, and it's how you do that there. Deploy, so then you deploy your areas, starting with the person with priority. Then the gameplay just exactly the same as how you would know it. Just make sure you're doing all your actions first, then you do the next one, that's a round, and then you continue until the team wins or the objective tells you to win. 1 VP for a kill. They spawn in the deployment zone at the start of their next turn. So you're never out of the game. I think that's really, really important. But you leave the stress track. You recharge everything else. I've also put here, it would also be quite cool to have notches on your belt for each kill. But I'm not 100% sure about that. A little bit like a scoring system. And actually, Brendan, which he mentioned about like a shop device, where you, kind of mechanic, where you pick up points, which is like currency, and then you can spend that on upgrades. So possibly. I've put here, winning first team to achieve 4 VPs. That's not necessarily true. That was just for a 1 team versus 1 team elimination, which is what I've said here. But as I said, to keep things fresh and focused, I've created 6 scenarios where you roll a d6 and shoot, and then that determines it. First one's objective control. So it's like uploading blueprints for a new super weapon. And it's to control the team must have more ships adjacent to the objective at the end of the round. Once the team has controlled the objective, choose one of the controlling ships and place the objective token onto that ship. If the ship containing objective reaches their deployment zone, then remove the token and score 2 VP. What I didn't want is you to just like sit in the middle of the objective. That would just be boring. So the idea now is you grab this objective and then you skit it home to your deployment zone. A little bit like capture the flag in a way. So you'd have the objective here, and then you would have the control zone around it. I wanted it quite a big control zone so that you're really fighting it out in that middle. You could, as an extension, have 2 objectives. especially for, I would say, if you've got a high player count. If you've got 4v4, this could be something to do. Although this, I don't know, this might lend itself to not a lot of combat. Number 2 is Secret Messenger. Each team secretly selects one of the ships to be the messenger. They get 3 VPs if they get to the opponent's deployment zone. If the messenger is destroyed, that team receives. You know what? That needs to be 2 VPs. That's way too strong for 3 VPs. I'm not happy with that. So so you secretly select one of your ships to be the messenger to start with. So if you make it obvious that you're the messenger, then the opponents will gang up on them. Or else you might send like all of you together as a clump, so they don't know which one. But then there's so many attacks and things in this game that will attack infinite targets in a small range. So that can have an effect to that. So I think that should work. A classic in any PvP is capture the flag. So you enter your opponent's deployment zone, you grab the flag. While you're on the flag, you can't attack. If you get back to your deployment zone, you score 3 VP. Again, I think these should all be 2 VP, not 3. It's too high. If the ship carrying the flag is destroyed, remove the ship and place the flag in the hex it was occupying, so it doesn't go back to the opponent's deployment zone. Now, I probably will put in here as well a ship may pick up their own flag to take back to their deployment zone. So I think it's quite important to be able to do that. Okay, next one. No, you know what? I don't think that. No, I don't think that. Sorry. I don't think that's it. Protect the cargo is the one I've just set up. As I mentioned. Again, I don't know. I think we need to do 6 rounds. I'm going to say 6 and 6. There you go. Just made a decision now. I think that will give it so it's not too long a game. And allows it to switch sides and get going again. Bounty hunting. There is a pirate ship that has a bounty on it. It's an AI ship, elite frigate or something. We've not really seen much of these stronger ships, but it needs to be a decent ship that's flying around the board. So we just draw AI cards, just like an AI deck that's in the proper game, and then it follows those to the nearest ship to it. And then results of tie, the one with the most hull. It just follows exactly the same AI motions as it would do in the game. The team with the killing blow scores 3 VP, and it starts at the centre of the board. Find the artifact. Just use 4 tokens, 3 blank and 1 with something on it. So just 4 identical things that when you flip them over, only one of them looks different. You've got the 4 asteroids on the map. You place 1 on each of them randomly. And as a 2 dice action, when a ship is adjacent hex to the asteroid, they may search it. Flip the token. If it's blank, nothing happens. If it's the artifact, then a player gets an additional tech and scores 2 VP. So they're going to be like shooting out to all of these different asteroids and trying to be the first to kind of to find that artifact. There's only 1 artifact though. Please remember, there's only 1 artifact for that. Now, there was a few things to think about, which is what I've put at the end. EMP seems too powerful because the number of targets is infinite. I know it's because it's a relatively large range. I think it goes up to a range of 3, which is quite far. So I think maybe it needs to be 2 targets. Again, these are all questions which I'm not sure about, but they need a lot more playtesting. Target log could be for 2 rounds. Again, I'm not 100% sure about that. I think it should work with us not being... I did a lot of this stuff when you could exhaust this really important point here. A lot of these things were because you could do this and exhaust your upgrades to stop damage, which meant you just never died. And these just lasted forever. Whereas now, if you don't do this perhaps doesn't make as much difference. So, to be honest, I'm kind of happy just to keep it as it is. However, if you want to throw objectives, then these abilities will not be so powerful. So I've just said that. Attack and defense team, as played too linear. So what we mean by that is we want a decent number of team. You can't play it 1v1 really. It needs to be a team, as it were. I suppose you can do multiple ships. So that's the rule set. It follows the same base rules as the normal game, and it's just good fun as a separate kind of entity, as it were. So that's my 2 cents, and that's how you set up the. That's how you set it up in terms of Stars of Akarios PvP setup, and a little bit of the discussion about the actual PvP rules. Now, obviously, that's on Google Docs, so you're free to just grab it, modify it, post it, whatever. What I love about this game and the Kickstarter and everything is the fact that they want to release the app. They're going to release the app, which is community-driven, created content, which is fantastic. So stuff like this will be so much easier to do on that system. So I can't wait for that. Obviously, that's not going to come for quite a while yet, and we're just all really just keen to keep playing this. I mean, honestly, before you play PvP, get on Tabletopia and play the scenarios. It's so much fun, and you can play it from any count from 1 to 4. So plenty of options there. They're just so generous to just offer it up, so we can all play it and not have to wait until August 21 to get our hands on the game and actually play it in physical. I can't wait to do that, of course, but it's nice to have the option. I know that, for example, Nemesis had very similar, in the sense that they released it on Tabletop Simulator. Ken Tsunaga, I think his name was, the chap who created the Tabletop Sim version mod. But that was so good because we got to play the game before it arrived in our hands, and I love that idea. So the more companies that do that, especially Kickstarter companies that do that, in my eyes, the better. It's obviously never as good as the physical content. Never is going to be as good as that. But it's not a bad little substitute while we wait. Okay, guys. So that was Stars of Akarios PvP setup and a little bit of discussion as well. See you later.